Welcome back again to Inside Asia. We are now with Professor Kyoko Kusakabe. Okay, so let's talk about your work on women roles in working force, because you have written, I have heard that you have written a book about what they call Thailand's hidden workers in Thai factories, and that is another roles of women, in Southeast Asia that the Burmese people, now they want to call them Myanmar, right?
Yeah,
the Myanmar people, the Myanmar female come to work in Thailand, and what are the significance of this female role in the factory of Thailand?
Like if we look at Thai economic growth,
Yes.
the economic growth have actually been on the back of women.
Oh,
And that's
yes.
what Ruth Pearson, who is my co-author, have also said in the
Yes.
1980s.
Yes.
That because when Thailand was going towards export-oriented growth, it was the women who came into the factory in numbers and supported the factories. The same thing is going on for the Burmese, or the people, the women from Myanmar.
Yes.
Who are working for the factories. Now that the Thai workers are looking for higher wages, and then the factories who are looking for cheaper wages, cheaper labor, they go to the border areas and start hiring migrant workers who will be working in much lower wages than the Thai workers. And then again, these are the women who are contributing to this labor-intensive industries like garment industry.
Yes. Is there about something proportion between male and female in Southeast Asia or not? Because female seems like much bigger than male population in Thailand.
Well, I don't think population-wise that is not the case. No, it is almost equal number. But then there are sex segregation in workforce. So there are working area where there's a lot of women, and there are working places where there's a lot of men. And then like factories, like so-called labor-intensive factories, like garment and leather and all that, there are more women. And then, then more like mechanics and all that, like automobile industries, there are more men.
Okay.
So when we look at, because that book look at the garment industry, so most of the workers are women workers.
Is that not a heavy job? That's why female can fit in? Is it?
That's what they say, that the reason why they have women in those jobs is because it's lighter, and then women have nimble fingers.
Yes.
But then of course that's something that is created. No, it is not actually true that working in garment factories is an easy job. It's a very strenuous job. It's very heavy on the health because it's a long working hours. You have to concentrate for long hours. So it's not something that is so easy. So there's a reason why working age is so short. They get very tired by the time they reach something like middle 30s. So that shows that how strenuous the work is. So it's not a light job as such.
So maybe some opinion might say that because other jobs doesn't accept, they do not accept the women as the workers. Isn't possible? So
there are some gender discrimination because there's stereotypes that this kind of work is for men, this kind of work is for women. And then also in Thailand, they do not prohibit advertising that we want this is a position for women or men. Because in other countries, they prohibit that kind of announcement because it's discriminatory. But in Thailand, that's the case. So that kind of separation between women-oriented workplace and male-oriented workplaces still exist.
So that means if we go back to the class, what you mentioned, last break about the class, the layer of the social status or social structure in even Southeast Asia, even Asia. So that means the women who from the higher class would tend to have more opportunity to work as the, the higher positions. But women in the lower class seems to be not applicable, to work in those higher position.
Exactly. There are class differences in terms of gender inequality, level of gender inequality. They say that women in the lower class would suffer from higher gender inequality compared to higher class people.
Okay.
So for the lower class people, there will be more segregation. The opportunity is more limited compared to women with more education or from higher class. Overall, in Thailand, the wage gap between women and men is around 70%. So women earn something like 70% of that of men. But it's not because in the same office they earn less. It is more because women are taking up jobs that is less paid than men.
Yes. So that means women are easily accept job, accept that those jobs easier than the male, right? Because the male has so many obstacles. Is that?
So like for example, like in the 1997 economic crisis, the unemployment rate shooted up.
Okay.
Yeah, but then compared to if we compare women and men, men's unemployment rate went up, whereas women's unemployment rate went up only a little.
Okay.
The reason is because women could not afford to be unemployed. They have to keep on earning because they were responsible for the family.
Yes. No matter expensive or cheap, right?
Exactly. So if you see the wage, women's wage during that time went down, whereas men's wage did not change much.
Wow.
So you can see that women were taking up jobs that was much cheaper because they needed the daily income. So it's very different the way that women and men work.
Okay. So it seems like it doesn't matter about the gender in Asia. It matters about the class structure in Southeast Asia.
Both class and gender kind of intersects.
Okay. If we go back to the higher class, between male and female, what do you think about the role of the higher class people who are male or who are female?
That is a bit difficult because there are a big variety in because like for example like in family business there are a lot of women CEOs because as a family member they are also automatically part of the family business's CEO. So in that sense there are more women in managerial and presidential level compared to like countries like Japan, for example. Yeah, so in that sense they have more opportunity. They get better education in that sense. But then at the same time, there are some groups where they would have more, restriction on women's behavior. So there are there are different expectations for how women, good women to behave.
Yes.
So like being a good mother, good wife, good daughter, the restriction is much harsher among these upper or middle class women and men compared to like poorer class of women. So in that sense, meeting that expectation is difficult for higher class or middle class women.
Yes. So after a very short break, we will come back again and talk very thoughtful with Professor Kyeokgot about the role of women in Southeast Asia. Stay tuned.